Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. Les Gold risked the whole thing and nearly misplaced it all. The king of porn grew to become his Detroit shop into a fact TV empire. However, backstage matters were not as simple as they seemed. Employee betrayals, monetary struggles, and a deal so shocking it made headlines worldwide. His tale failed to end when hardcore porn went off the air. The truth about what befell subsequent is not anything like what enthusiasts expected. So in spite of everything these years, what honestly have become of Les Gold? Les Gold built hardcore porn on chaos, massive personalities, and even larger deals. But no person predicted the real drama to return. From interior his personal store, American Jewelry and Loan wasn't just a TV set. It turned into enterprise, a own family, operation and a high stakes, battleground for cash clients and struggle. His son Seth and his daughter Ashley ran the location. Like a well-oiled device, they handled wild customers, outrageous negotiations, and the occasional brawl. But the most important, betrayal. It got here from the people they trusted the most, their very own employees. You'd suppose that operating in a porn store, featured on national TV, would make personnel extra careful, proper safety cameras anywhere. The Gold-owned family, watching their each move, millions of viewers tuning in. But nope, a few personnel got a little too snug, and one of them, the remaining individual Les Goldover expected. We need to return to one of the most important scandals in hardcore porn history, a depended on worker stuck, stealing purple surpassed. Not just any worker, Joe, the store's head of security. Yeah, you heard that right. The man chargeable for maintaining the store secure turned into the one taking from it. And he wasn't just sneaking out some cheap objects here and there. We're talking about hundreds of bucks, well worth of stolen earrings. Les had a bad feeling approximately it. Something wasn't adding up. He set up a trap, left a treasured diamond ring in a completely specific spot, included just sufficient to make it appearance like it were forgotten. Next morning, the hoop changed into long past. Now Les isn't always the type to panic. He knew something changed into up, but he needed evidence. So he did what any porn store proprietor would do, check the security photos, and that is, whilst he noticed it. Joe the fellow, he trusted together with his commercial enterprise, his employees and his family, became caught on digital, camera-swiping earrings. Not as soon as not twice, however, over more than 1 day's. Let's be real. At that second, Les ought to have lost it. This turned into someone who had been with him for over 3 years, someone who became almost own family. But in place of flipping out, he performed it clever. He known as the law enforcement officials. He made certain Joe stayed in the store. And he acted like the whole thing changed into absolutely ordinary. That could have been the hardest element. Can you believe status there, talking to a guy who just stole from you, pretending like nothing, turned into incorrect? That's what Les needed to do. Because if Joe were given suspicious, he'd bolt, and Les wasn't approximately to let that occur. Joe walked into the store like any other day, clueless about what changed into waiting for him. Meanwhile, Les become already placing the trap. The detectives arrived, the safety footage turned into loaded, and the second Joe was known as to their turn, he knew. He knew he was executed, but there's the crazy element. When confronted, Joe admitted to stealing. No excuses, nolies. He directly up confessed, and then, this is wherein it receives virtually wild. He raked into his pocket and pulled out handfuls of stolen rings, over 77,000 well worth of merchandise. Let's prevent for a second $77,000. That's not just slipping some jewelry for your pocket. That's predominant theft. And this guy have been doing it for who is aware of how long. The police officers didn't waste a second. Joe was arrested on the spot. And just like that, considered one of Les Gold's maximum, relied on employees become long gone. But this wasn't the first time American Jewelry and Loan had an interior task. In reality, the display uncovered a much bigger trouble: employees stealing from proper underneath Les's nose. It wasn't just Joe, there have been others. And every time it felt like a punch to the intestines. Seth and Ashley have been furious. They started wondering, each person, was there a larger operation happening behind the curtain? How long had this been taking place? Could all and sundry be depended on now? Allow me tell you, working at American Jewelry and Loan wasn't smooth. The Golds ran a tight ship, but even then, humans observed ways to take advantage. Some personnel got too comfortable. Some concept they could outsmart the system. But in an area with cameras on every wall, it turned into only a matter of time before they got stuck. And here's where it receives even crazier. This wasn't just a TV second, this was real existence. Bobby J., a former hardcore porn worker, later showed in an interview that the entirety viewers saw changed into 100% actual. There became no faking, no scripted drama. These thefts, they genuinely happened. Bobby said that once Joe were given busted the complete keep changed, the vibe turned into off. Everyone became on aspect. Every employee unexpectedly felt like they have been below a microscope, and definitely they had been. Think approximately, Les Gold had tens of millions of bucks in stock sitting in that keep. Gold diamonds, watches, high-quit electronics, things that could disappear in seconds if the incorrect individual got too grasping. The Golds had visible it all. Customers trying to pull scams, humans getting violent over low offers, even fake cops seeking to rob the location. But whilst the danger changed into coming from their personal personnel that hit otherwise. But here's the issue. This became simply one of the scandals that rocked hardcore porn. Because even as all of this changed into happening, something even bigger became taking place. Something that would shake up the shop, the display, and Les Gold's whole popularity. To understand how Les Gold became the fearless businessman that hundreds of thousands noticed on hardcore porn, we need to pass lower back decades earlier than the cameras ever rolled. American Rings and Mortgage wasn't built in a single day. It wasn't the end result of proper success or a single smart investment. It became the product of years of grinding in an enterprise in which one horrific deal should fee you lots, and in which trusting the wrong individual should mean dropping the whole thing. For Les, those instructions got here early, and one among them almost cost him his existence. In 1971, lengthy before he became a TV megastar, Les changed into running in his grandfather's pawn, save whilst a day that started out like another took a lethal turn. It was December 31st, right around midday, when an armed robber stormed into the store. Pawn shops, mainly in towns like Detroit, have continually been high-danger organizations. They deal in cash hearings, gold and excessive stop electronics. Exactly the form of valuables. Criminals, Stargate. This wasn't the primary time Lashard visible problem, but this time it escalated in a way that could haunt him for all time. In the chaos of the robbery, gunfire erupted in the store. A police officer who had replied to the scene changed into shot and killed. Another man lost his existence that day, turning what must have been a habitual afternoon rite into a tragedy that left an unforgettable mark on Les. He turned into, there he noticed it show up. He walked away bodily, unharmed. However, he knew from that second on that not anything in lifestyles turned into assured. In an immediately everything may be taken away. Most folks that experience something like that in no way absolutely get better. They live in worry. They walk far from something remotely dangerous. Les did the opposite. Instead of letting it spoil him, he made a choice. He might in no way go into reverse. Never let fear dictate his life, and by no means allow everybody take advantage of him or his business. That moment changed the way he treated people, deals, or even his very own personnel. This is why years later, when hardcore porn exploded in reputation, Les ran his keep with an iron fist. American Jewelry and Loan wasn't only a pawn store, it changed into a big operation that treated greater transactions in a single day than some banks every day. Over 1,000 people walked through those doorways with 600 to 800 new loans being written up, and some other 300 to 400 customers coming in to reclaim their objects. When you're dealing with that, a whole lot quantity, there may be no room for weak point. There's no time for second guessing. That attitude carried over into his private philosophy. Trust had to be earned. And as soon as it become damaged, there has been no going lower back. This is why it hit so difficult. While after the whole thing, he had built after. Surviving one of the maximum terrifying moments of his life, betrayal, failed to come from the out of doors. It didn't come from a masked robber or an angry patron. It came from a person. He had taken a risk on a person he believed in, a person who stood at the back of the counter. Of his keep, Les had constantly believed in giving people second possibilities. He understood that lifestyles will be tough and that not everybody had an ideal record. This is why over the years, he had rehired employees who had left below questionable occasions. Some had personal struggles, others had made awful choices. However, if less concept, they have been well worth the threat he gave them. Any other shot? That became the case with Amy and Rich, two employees, whose return to American Jewelry and Loan had already triggered anxiety backstage. Amy had worked at the shop earlier than, however, she had left in a way that made Les question her commitment. She didn't simply end, she disappeared. No be aware, no rationalization, not anything. One day she turned into there, and then next, she changed into long gone. Normally Les would were achieved together, with her, but her uncle, who had been a loyal employee for years, for my part asked Les to offer her every other chance. Against his higher judgment he agreed. Seth, always the greater skeptical of the two, strongly disagreed with these election, arguing that a person who had walked away once should without difficulty do it. Again, Rich, however, had been with the organization for a long time. Les had trained him himself, and at one factor, he had whole religion in his capabilities. But over time, things modified. Rich started out making questionable decisions, and Les started out to peer a sample of conduct that made him uneasy. Still, he stood him on believing that enjoy and training could finally pay off. What Les failed to comprehend on the time changed into that these alternatives, these 2D chants, had been approximately to backfire in approaches. He in no way noticed coming employees who had once been dependable started out cutting corners, making choices that positioned the shop at hazard, and in a few cases, doing things that could make much less question everything he had labored for. But the worst component, this wasn't pretty much poor control or personnel, no longer doing their jobs. This become about something deeper, something extra dangerous. Les Gold had spent many years constructing American rings and loan into one of the most a success pawn stores in the United States of America. It wasn't pretty much shopping for and selling. It turned into approximately survival. He had seen the enterprise trade, tailored to each undertaking, and turned a single keep right into a multi-location commercial enterprise that served over 1,000 clients each single day. By the time Hardcore Pawn aired in 2010, he changed into already a legend inside the pawn global. But repute brought a brand new stage of scrutiny. Behind the scenes, tensions had been developing. The fights among Les, Seth and Ashley were not only for TV. There turned into actual electricity warfare going on within the family. Seth was bold, usually searching for ways to modernize the enterprise every now and then, even making deals in the back of his father's lower back if he notioned they were the proper move. Ashley, on the other hand, wasn't as involved in the shop's day-to-day operations, but whilst she did not hesitate to task her father and brother. The arguments have been actual. The competition between Seth and Ashley changed into real, and at times it felt just like the whole family was on the verge of falling aside. But through all of this, Les in no way misplaced manipulate. He were through too much to let family drama or employee betrayals shake him. He had survived an armed robbery, visible human beings, lose the whole thing in an instantaneous, and knew that in this business, the handiest way, Towin turned into to hold transferring ahead, even after hardcore. Pawn ended in 2015, he did not slow down. American Jewelry and Loan changed into nonetheless thriving, and Les turned into nonetheless at the helm, along Seth. Their display may had been over. However, the commercial enterprise wasn't unlike different Truth TV stars who diminished into obscurity. Les Gold remained a powerhouse within the porn enterprise. While he wasn't as lively on social media as Hisson, he became, nonetheless, very a whole lot present. In the enterprise Seth took over, most of the public, dealing with elements, regularly posting updates breaking down iconic moments from the show on TikTok, and sometimes bringing Les in for his take. By this point, Les had built an empire. He changed into an entrepreneur with multiple locations, masses of employees, and thousands of dollars in stock. Hisson Vision net really worth hovered round $3.5 million, a testament to decades of relentless paintings and clever business decisions. But notwithstanding his success, rumors commenced to swirl. For years, there had been peculiar reports online claiming that Les Gold had surpassed away these faux death. Hoaxes unfold on social media, causing confusion amongst fanatics who questioned if their favorite TV porn dealer turned into actually long past each time theramas have.